Hello, all. We could learn about several inspiring stories on courage not just in India but all over the world. Like Roy Benevitz from US, Giuseppe Garibaldi from Italy, Julian Kopke from Germany. These are few of the several great personalities who are role models of courage. So, amongst the great personalities across the globe today, I would tell you the inspiring story of Giuseppe Garibaldi, an Italian freedom fighter. So, this story belongs to the era when the entire world was scared of the continent named Europe. Because some Europeans wanted to conquer and rule over the whole world someday. And with this mission, the Europeans even traveled a distance of more than 10,000 kilometers to reach India through the sea route. Even the Britishers had deceived Indians under the disguise of helping them to enhance the scope of foreign trade and ruled India for years. And same condition was in other countries too. So our story of the day starts with the country named Italy. Italy was divided into several regions during that time, and Italy was being ruled by her neighboring country France. The French king and ruler treated Italy as her slave. One day a baby boy was born to a couple in a place called Nice in France during that period. And the little boy was named Giuseppe Garibaldi. Like other kids, Garibaldi was also very good in studies, and when he grew up, for a living, Garibaldi joined his father to assist him in his shipping work. Because Garibaldi had to travel from one city to the other city through the sea route. So during this travel, he met some of the freedom fighters from Italy. And the turning point of his life came that time when one day Garibaldi was on his sea travel as usual. He met a person named Mazzini. Mazzini was a very courageous man. He didn't want to be a slave and he always spoke about the freedom of Italy. Then what happened? Obviously, even we would have been impressed in a jiffy had anyone shared such remarkable views. The same thing happened with Garibaldi too. Garibaldi became so passionate about fighting for Italy's freedom that he gradually gave up everything and joined a freedom fighter group called Young Italy. In 1833, Garibaldi and Mazzini made a plan for Italy's freedom, and he started adding other experts and freedom fighters to form a small army as part of their preparation. Both the freedom fighters, Garibaldi and Mazzini, wanted freedom for Italy. So to make his dream come true, now Giuseppe Garibaldi initiated his fight for Italy's freedom with the help of this newly formed small army. This army comprised of 300 social workers, 400 college students, 300 blue-blooded boys and many people who belonged to the wealthy families. During this fight, Giuseppe Garibaldi was fighting around 8,000 French soldiers with the help of his newly formed army. While Garibaldi kept his fight on, there was also a time when he thought that he would lose because he had a small army and the French had a huge army to fight it out. But Garibaldi's army kept fighting with sheer courage and determination. Garibaldi and his army of 1,000 soldiers fought the French army, which was much bigger and stronger with all their power and strength. And you won't believe that Garibaldi also held 250 French soldiers as hostage during this fight. Isn't it commendable? Well, after such a victorious fight, any common man would have rested for a couple of months. But Garibaldi could not even rest for a while, that within 1 month's time, the king of Naples had attacked the city of Rome. Yes, the city of Rome, which is the capital of Italy. A humongous army of 20,000 soldiers had attacked Italy during that time. Garibaldi could not sleep for nights after learning about this news. He took charge by preparing his army for the situation and started his freedom fight with the help of a small squad. The entire population of Italy joined hands with Garibaldi in his fight for Italy's freedom against the French soldiers and kept fighting continuously for a period of 25 days. Because Garibaldi had now become their hero, and people could do anything for him. What is commendable is that they drove out all the French soldiers in this fight. Garibaldi's power had now doubled due to the support of the people. That is why, when the fight took place again, Garibaldi, along with his army, helped Charles Albert, the King of Sardinia, to free Italy from the shackles of the French. But in 1848, when Charles Albert lost the province called Piedmont in Sardinia during this battle, he was compelled to stop his fight for freedom and enter into settlement. Garibaldi did not support this decision. He was keen on clear-cut outcome at any cost, which means winning freedom for Italy at any cost. And that is why he did not stop fighting. On the other side, Rome was also fighting their battle for freedom, and this fight was led by Mazzini, the same freedom fighter who had met Giuseppe Garibaldi during his sea travel. Rome's fight for freedom was at its peak. You cannot even imagine how many people lost their lives during this battle. But no country won freedom without sacrificed lives of many. So many people sacrificed their lives to win freedom for India. At last, the Britishers gave up and accepted defeat and left India. Well, I will tell you the story of freedom struggle of India on some other day. Now, let me tell you more about the freedom movement of Garibaldi. Because Mazzini and Garibaldi supported each other during their fight for freedom, hence Garibaldi reached Rome to support Mazzini when the condition in Rome deteriorated. And as a result, Mazzini won the freedom fight. And this is how Rome became a republic nation. The Pope in France could not digest the success of the Roman Republic, which was led by Garibaldi and Mazzini. That is why the furious and envious French Pope attacked the Roman Republic. But Garibaldi was not the type to keep quiet. Hence, Garibaldi put up a strong fight against the powerful and mighty French troop. But with the time, Garibaldi's army had got tired after fighting so many enemies. It was difficult to fight such a huge and strong French army. That is why Garibaldi was defeated in this battle. So, like any matured soldier would do, Garibaldi thought it was best to leave Italy and go to South America in such a challenging situation. Because to win this freedom fight, the most important thing was to survive. Moreover, it's not possible to fight without weapons and powerful army. That is why Garibaldi stayed in America and for 6 years collected required funds. And he returned to Italy in the year 1854. And after reaching Italy, Garibaldi purchased an island called Pereira in Sardinia and stayed there for few days. But this was just the beginning of a very challenging phase. He was actually back to Italy in search of someone, a real and trustworthy support. And his search for this support ended when he met a freedom fighter named Cavour. Cavour was the third hero of the Italy freedom fight. Cavour had the same dream and vision as that of Garibaldi, which was Italy's freedom. So both Cavour and Garibaldi shook hands and together fought the strong and huge French army as part of their revolt. Because the French Pope knew that the day all the states of Italy get united, the French rule in Italy would be over. That's why the French did not want the Italian states to get united at any cost. But Garibaldi was determined to unite the Italian states and achieve freedom for Italy with the support of Cavour. So he formed a strong army called Red Shirt to fight this war. Had it been someone else, In Garibaldi's place, he or she would have completely given up after being defeated. But Garibaldi did not go back on his dream of achieving freedom for his motherland in 6 years. He started from zero and strived to form his own army again. And by the end of 1860, he was successful in achieving freedom for all states of Italy with determination. Everyone in Italy was looking forward to know Garibaldi's next step after achieving freedom. Garibaldi requested for people's consent for uniting all the Italian states, and he received complete support from each one of them. And this is how all the states united and became a joint state. Some people thought that Garibaldi would become the king of Italy now. But instead of that, Garibaldi announced Victor Emmanuel as the king of Italy and proved the people wrong. And yes, if Garibaldi wanted, he could have also become the king of Italy, and people would have happily accepted his decision. But Garibaldi was a freedom fighter. He had envisioned the dream of a free Italy, and not that of a king of a free country. So this is how Garibaldi dedicated his life to achieve freedom for his motherland and to provide justice to his people. After achieving freedom, he chose to live a life of recluse. After all, what could be more satisfying than living in peace for a freedom fighter who lived half of his life fighting for freedom? Even today, the residents of Italy remember their godfather Garibaldi as one of the greatest freedom fighters, along with the supporters Mazzini and Cavour. The Italians even made a memorial in the loving memory of their leader. Garibaldi is indeed a real hero, who did so much for his country selflessly without any return, and gave a lot to the world with his kind deeds. Hence, we must get inspired by such courageous and great leaders. Thank you.